Most people believe familiarity is earned. You recognize a place because you have been there, a street, a building, a doorway, a smell. Simple, logical, and predictable because memory works in one direction, forward. But every now and then, something breaks the equation. You walk into a place you have never visited, a place you have never seen, a place that means nothing to you, and yet something inside you already knows, as if part of you arrived there first, as if some version of this moment already happened. Psychologists have a term for it, scientists have theories. Ancient cultures had something else entirely. They had a name for the places themselves, because they believed certain locations were special. Certain places didn't just trigger the feeling, they caused it. This is file number 006. This is the thin places. The first time I felt this trigger, I was 12 years old at a YMCA camp in upstate New York, and it was the third day in. The counselors launched a wilderness scavenger hunt. Everyone scattered into the forest looking for markers and clues. Most kids stayed close to the main area, but I didn't. I'm not sure why. I just kept walking, further, quieter, and deeper, until the camp sounds disappeared completely. No voices, no activity, just trees. The silence felt, I don't know how else to describe this, deliberate, like the forest had been waiting. Then I saw them, the two trees, massive, ancient, enormous in a way that made the rest of the forest feel young. They stood like pillars, maybe 20 feet apart. Something about them pulled me toward them. I walked between them, and the world changed. The air felt different. The light felt different. And then it hit me. A wave of recognition so strong that it physically stopped me in mid-step. I have been here before, not a vague impression, not a passing thought. It was an unshakable certainty that I had already stood in this exact spot, already seen these exact trees, already felt this exact silence. I remember turning in a slow circle, scanning the forest, trying to find the logical explanation, but there wasn't one. I've never been to this camp before. I've never been to this part of New York before. The math didn't work, and yet I knew this place. Science calls it déjà vu, French for already seen. The leading explanation? A momentary mismatch in memory processing. Your brain, specifically the hippocampus, accidentally files a new experience into the long-term memory before conscious awareness can flag it as new. You experience the present, but your brain has already labeled it past. A glitch, a timing error, a processing bug, and honestly, that explanation is probably correct, most of the time. Here's what it doesn't explain. I've had dozens of ordinary déjà vu moments throughout my life. A conversation that felt like a repeat, a street corner I've never visited, a stranger's face I somehow recognized. Most only lasted seconds, faded immediately, left nothing behind. But the forest stayed. I remember it in the kind of detail that ordinary memories don't survive. The texture of the bark, the angle of the light, the specific quality of that silence, decades later. So ask yourself, if it was just a neurological glitch, why that moment? Why that place? Why does a brain malfunction produce a memory that outlasts thousands of real ones? Maybe it was just a stronger version of the same thing. Across history, across continents, across cultures, across thousands of years of human experience, people have described a remarkably consistent phenomenon. Certain places felt different. Not haunted, not dangerous, not supernatural in any Hollywood sense, just thinner. Like the normal distance between you and something larger has been shortened. The Celts had a word for it, thin places. Locations where, as they described it, the boundary between worlds was not as solid as elsewhere, where something beyond ordinary reality felt close enough to almost touch. And here's what's interesting. Thin place experiences were not confined to the Celts. Indigenous traditions across North America describe sacred sites as places where the spirit world pressed closer to the physical one. Japanese Shinto identifies certain locations: mountains, ancient forests, particular springs, as inhabited by kami, a spiritual presence embedded in the geography itself. Medieval Christian mystics described specific pilgrimage sites as places where heaven felt nearer. At 12 years old, I didn't know about the Celts. I didn't know about thin places or sacred sites, or the history of humans marking certain locations as different. Standing between those two trees, my mind arrived at its own explanation. What if another version of me had already been here? Not metaphorically, literally. Another life, another timeline, another thread of reality that had, for just a moment, intersected with this one.